Hi, this is Todd. I'm the founder of Bar Exam Doctor. I've got Dr. Stan with me today. Say hi, Stan.
Hi there.
So I want to talk to you this week about Bar Exam Doctor and tell you a few things about our program. And Stan's going to pick a few topics to briefly talk about today. And I want to start with just a few things about our company. So Bar Exam Doctor was founded about 10 years ago. And one of the things we try to do is try to be a little bit more of a cost friendly bar view and provide even more services than some of those other bar views out there. So I also like to highlight in each video a recent phone call that I had with a recent student. This one I'll highlight was a phone call I just had the other day with a student who is trying to pass the bar exam, has a day job, a very successful person, and she wants to kind of get a program where she can set her own schedule. She can do all that stuff. She just needs a resource, and she doesn't want to spend an arm and a leg to do so. And so one of the things I went over was in our program, she can do an essay or a PT at nighttime or in the morning. We have over 200 essays in our database. We've got a ton of PTs. They're obviously the latest version. The feedback that we give her is very detailed. It has comments on our answer. It has a score. It has a feedback form, which we force our graders, such as Dr. Stan over there, to fill out. I mean, our graders probably spend between 5 and 10 minutes for every exam that's submitted in. There's no that 2.5 minute thing. And these are not people who are, 23 years old who just passed the bar exam. Our graders are very, very experienced in what they do. They're lawyers in other states. They're very skilled, very qualified. One of our graders actually graded for the actual California bar exam. She actually has helped us write several articles too for the daily journal that we published in over the years. I have a few on our website. And so these graders are very, very qualified. And I explained to the student too that it's not just about that you passed the bar exam or you went to law school or any of that stuff. It's also about you have that educational background that you're able to teach what it is that they're doing wrong to improve upon it. Because again, anyone can just say this is wrong. I mean, that's the funny thing. I had a conversation with a student the other day where they said, I did 20 essays. I did 30 essays over the last bar exam. And I said, well, who graded them? Oh, I don't know. I just looked at the model answer. But that's not going to help you, right? You need someone who's going to review it and give you all the good feedback and have that credibility, that background, who has looked at these exams, who has guided these students to grade and to score from the 1200s to the 1300s. And now, look, you only need 1390. So, the scoring range has changed, which hopefully makes it a little easier. And now with the last bar exam, next bar exam, we're online, more comfortable environment. So all these things will hopefully be to your benefit. So, right now we're already open. We opened up right after the last bar exam, and we're going to be open through this next bar exam. And the subscription goes from the minute you sign up until that bar exam. One of our students recently said, okay, how many days do I have to wait to activate my account? And I said, it's instant. The minute you pay or sign up, your account is active. You're good to go. So when they had signed up at 10 o'clock at night, at 10:01, they're ready to go and they started exams and they submitted an essay that night. So these are all things that I think help us differentiate ourselves from some of the other bar views are. And look, there are quite a few bar views out there. But one of the things I was just mentioning to Dr. Stan is we're still one of the very few that have the ability to do essays and PTs completely online, like completely on our website that looks like Word or the other typing programs. And you can see the essays or the PTs on one side of the screen and type next to it. I was just in a recent study group Zoom video. And again, I was explaining as the student who had just took the bar exam was explaining how she was looking at the one side of the screen and typing the other one when she was taking the bar exam. And I was like, we were like way ahead of our times. And we didn't know that the bar exam was going to do this, but they did it. And so we were way ahead of our times. And this was really good for our students because on the one exam, when it was moved all the way through October, we had students that signed up for March. I mean, could you imagine how much time they had to study from March until October? They had so much time, and so they're really able to practice in our platform that really we're able to take advantage of just showing, the real thing. And we have a timer and the screen closes when the time is up, just like the real thing. And we try to do everything we can. But at the same time, look, those are all great things, but you also have to see your kind of situation. Is there anything that you have there, weaknesses that you can do to help you personally? Some people have anxiety. Some people have, they after a certain while, they lose focus, things like that. So we also make sure, look at your specific issue because looking at saying, well, what's your pass rate is not really so clear. It's more about how have you personally done? What's been holding you back? And so the first thing I say to them when they're saying, what can you do to help is, okay, so what are your weaknesses? You should know your weaknesses by now if you've taken the bar exam a few times. So on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Stan, and he'll take it from here. Go ahead, Dr. Stan.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Todd. And basically, I want to start off with a few housekeeping matters. And those housekeeping matters are important because they relate to dates that impact you. The February bar exam results are going to be released on May 7th, 2021. And the significance of that is that application opens immediately. So, for example, those people that took that exam and did not complete it successfully, as of May 7th, they can again begin applying for the next exam offering. The deadline for that final filing is, in fact, June 1st, 2021. The July 2021 exam info, as I'm sure you know, the dates of the exam are going to be July 27th and 28th. And as mentioned, the deadline to apply is April 1st, 2021. The California bar exam consists of a performance test and 5 essay tests. If you go to the CalBar website, you'll see that they have those subjects for the essays listed in order, and they're not numbered. And they start with, for example, business associations, and then civil procedure, which are the first two, and the third one is community property, which is something I'm going to talk about very quickly in the remainder of my portion of this video. But the important takeaway for you in that is when you look at that list of subjects, a lot of people tend to read in, well, the first one listed is probably going to be the most important, and the second one is the lesser important or less tested. Please don't read it that way. They're just listed randomly, in my opinion, and there's no significance of which one's first or which one's fourth or which one's 10th. So with that said, I want to turn to a couple of things that you will be learning if, in fact, you sign up with barexamdoctor.com and select our program and select our course of study to help you prepare for and to pass that bar exam. So what I'm giving you are just some basic points that not only are from the bar exam model answer, but things that I have seen people, applicants, struggle with in the past. So when they submit practice bar exam answers to barexamdoctor.com, there's a certain trend that I and the other folks that grade these practice bar exams are able to pick up on. So whenever you're faced with a community property question on a bar exam, it's excuse me, important to show the nuance. Or the nuance is that community property is a presumption. A lot of people just say, well, California is a community property state. That generally is correct, but as an attorney, you want to sound precise, you want to be precise, right? And so it's important to state right up front that the community property is a presumption here in California. And again, whatever outlines of law you're using, these points that I'm going to make in the next few minutes are things that I want you to just take note of and then go back and read, reread, study, memorize, whatever your method of learning is in order to best prepare yourself for a community property question on the bar exam. It's important, for example, for you to know when the community property estate begins and when the community property estate ends. Those are trigger dates, and it's important for you to be able to siphon out of a fact pattern the beginning and ending of those dates, because they're very critical and often are part of what's going to be a correct answer to your question that's given. Another item is quasi-community property. It's something a lot of people tend to miss or misunderstand or not state correctly. And as you will become more familiar with the way we suggest you prepare for the bar exam, we follow certain methods, certain procedures. And one of them, of course, is to be able to identify the issue, to then state correctly the rule of law, apply the rule of law to the facts, and come up with a conclusion. And so if you start out with a misstatement of the law or of the rule of law, or if you don't properly express it, you're kind of off to a bad start. So it's important to know what quasi-community property is and how it works. You need to know how to characterize each and every asset, because in the case of a dissolution, or for that matter, in the case of a bequest or a trust and estate question, every asset has come from somewhere. People come into possession or ownership of an asset through some form or format. And here in California, we follow tracing. Again, something that you should be familiar with. And if you're not, please begin to do so with regard to preparing for the bar exam. Know the different ways that real estate titles differ. There's different ways of owning real estate here in California, of holding title to real estate, and you need to be aware of each and every one of them, and again, be able to distinguish one from the other. The significance of the Lucas, L-U-C-A-S, the Lucas provisions, those apply, and sometimes it's a really good way for you to pick up some extra points if it's appropriate in your answer to mention the Lucas provisions, what they are, when they apply, and how they apply. Remember that when we talk about community property, the character of community property can be changed. And there have been court decisions, there have been changes in law in the 1980s that have changed the way we treat characterization of community property to this very day. So again, be aware of those dates of when the law changed. Sometimes it becomes an issue in an answer. And again, you'll look like a star if you're able to identify and correctly discuss that. Last couple of items, know how conveyances and distributions are handled with regard to the conveyance of property or distribution of property upon the death or incompetency of someone, and also know how creditors are impacted by community property laws. California is not the only state that follows community property. There are other states as well, but no two states are exactly 100% the same. What you need to focus on is California and how California works. Lastly, I would say I suggest that you pay close attention to how graders like me have graded these community property practice exam answers on barexaminer.com. And as Todd indicated, you have access to other people's answers, not with their names, obviously, but with the answers that they provided with the comments that people like me have made, the ones of us that have graded these. So you'll benefit from the guidance that is implicit by reading those corrected answers. And of course, we also provide you with the model answer. So you want to look at the model answer. And I can tell you that 100% of the time, the model answers do not always match the way I would grade an exam or the way somebody else would grade an exam, just like the real California bar exam. Not every grader is going to interpret and follow that rubric exactly the same way. So that's it for just an overall general view of community property, and look forward to perhaps grading some of your practice answers. I'm going to turn it over to Todd. Thanks, Todd.
All right. Thank you very much. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.